The mics are hot, and so's the gossip. Let's get into it in 3.
Welcome to In 3. I'm Danielle Graham.
And I'm Callie.
And I have that new Sabrina Carpenter song stuck in my head. How does she do that?
She's the goat of shade.
Just like, boop. It's plugged in now and it's there. It's like just looping.
She's so good. And she also has Jack Antonoff, who's also like the king of helping women write breakup songs, which is what this is, right? It's called Man Child.
Every woman who listens to this song definitely goes to a man in their past and thinks about him. That's exactly what happened to me. I was like, oh, I know that guy.
We
I
all
dated
know
him.
1 or 2 or 3.
Man, children.
I think she was writing it about Barry Keoghan, but it could be about anyone. You're right. And she actually did post about it. And I thought her quote was so cute.
What'd she say?
So she said, not only was it fun to write, but this song became to me something I can look back on that will score the mental montage of the very confusing and fun young adult life years. And then she said, thank you, men, for testing me. And she put a pig emoji and a heart emoji.
Oh, I love it.
So she's like, she is fully confirming what we all know to be true.
Oh, I love that.
She's so cute.
She is the cutest. Mental montage. I'm going to steal that now. That's really good. Damn, I love that woman.
I know.
She's so great.
She's so good. There's so much going on in music this week.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see that Ashley Simpson is teasing a new album?
Stop.
I can't.
I really loved that album when she came out as a solo artist back in the early 2000s. I loved it.
Pieces of Me was amazing. Iconic.
Yeah, it was.
And maybe she's seeing like Sis Jess doing her thing and she's like, I want a piece of that again.
And we're also having a moment of nostalgia and wanting those artists and to hear music from them and from that time. So,
totally.
Did you also see the rumors that Dua Lipa could be the Super Bowl halftime performer?
I did see that.
How do you feel about it?
I think that Dua Lipa is one of those artists that like we don't even realize the songs that are by her. It's almost like she has so many hits, but we don't even realize it's her.
You're totally right.
Do you know what I mean? So I think it would be good. I think that the Super Bowl is responding to some of the criticisms from having the, last year's show, which I think people felt. I did not.
We did not.
But it was obviously Kendrick Lamar. And I think there was some criticisms that it wasn't a show for everyone. It was like a show for, rap music fans and people who are really like in that niche market. And in this case, I think Dua is just like, she's just a little like, okay, wait. I know that Dua Lipa fans love Dua and I think she's phenomenal.
Yes.
But she's very palatable.
Yeah.
Like she's not anything one way or the other. She's just kind of like, she's a pop singer with pop songs. And I think it's very mild.
Yeah.
Whereas like Kendrick was like fire. He was making statements.
Yeah.
It was political. It was shade.
She's safe.
She's very safe.
She's safe. My kids love Dua Lipa.
Right.
I like Dua Lipa.
I love Dua Lipa.
What I do love from a Super Bowl halftime show, I love a dancey, wardrobe-y, choreography kind of show.
Yes.
And I don't need to see like a rock show. I want to see outfits and stages and backup dancers and I want to see that.
Yes.
And she'll do that.
She'll bring that.
Yes, she will, if that's the case.
Mariah, the icon.
She is.
Was celebrated at the BET Awards this week for being an icon. And she also has new music out.
Yes.
I don't know. With Mariah, like, again, I don't want to shade on the legendary Mariah. Mm-hmm. But sometimes I think it's important to quit while you're ahead. And her performance at the BET Awards and this song, like the song is great. It's old school kind of poppy 2000s Mariah. She can barely walk by herself without assistance.
Yeah. And I don't think she likes to.
It's like bare minimum.
It is.
At this point.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what she once was and the range that she had and the types of performances that she gave is not what we're seeing today. Yeah. And while I love to see her, I'm just like, I want to love it because Mariah, Music Box Mariah is my heart and soul. Like that literally shaped and molded the person I am today.
Yes.
This is not shaping and molding anyone.
No, this is we're holding on here.
Right?
We're holding on.
We're literally
Yeah.
Like, we're just duct taped together at this point. Like, why?
She does feel like she could be just wheeled out on like a little platform, placed,
Right.
and then removed. I don't think she likes to move too
No.
much. I think she likes to be pretty stationary.
Yes.
She likes to stay preserved. She doesn't really even move her head. I'm guilty of that too, though, because I don't really like move my.
But, I mean, fair enough.
I've been accused of having Batman neck, where I turn my whole body.
Yeah, but when you're injured, like a Batman neck is when you're injured.
Or when I had my hair just as I wanted it.
When you have your hair just as you want to.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, is that horrible to say?
No, not at all. I agree. I mean, she looks great. I'm not dying for new Mariah music. I want to live in the olden days with
I know,
Mariah.
same.
I did love her acceptance speech, though, where she said she's at the point now where she's not looking for anybody's approval. She's just embracing her extraness. I'm like, you're just embracing that now, though.
Like, okay, it's been about a decade. Like,
More like 2.
I guess it's fair, and all women have their own journey with, people pleasing and stuff like that. It's possible she's been a people pleaser. I have never seen that behavior from her. She's like, Mariah's always been for Mariah. Like,
Yeah.
I can't see anything else.
She was known to be like 15 hours late. And I'm not exaggerating.
No.
For interviews. Yeah. Not a couple hours, like a whole other half of a day.
Yeah.
Late.
No, she like gives
felt no way about
zero
it.
F's. Like, just
Yeah.
sort of, she's sort of legendary for that. So I'm like, okay, cool. It's cute for the speech, but I like no one's really buying it.
Right.
Anyone that knows anything about Mariah knows
did,
that
though.
she's
I bought it.
You
I
bought-
was like, oh, that's so nice. And now you just
like,
reminded me. I am the worst.
No.
I will remember the last thing somebody said and be like, oh, great.
no, I mean, usually that's me. And we'll get to that when we get into our stories for the day. But
I can't wait.
I can be easily swayed as well. But with Mariah, I'm like, you're not fooling me. You're not fooling me here.
Good for you.
But before we line up the show, I
Yes.
have a little surprise.
Ooh, what you got?
Because I went to the Oreo event last week because we are
Yes.
Oreo influencers, as you know. And Selena Gomez has created a new flavor of Oreos. And I went to her launch party by myself. No thanks to you.
I couldn't be there. I went to see the Beetlejuice musical, which, by the way, was so much fun.
Was it?
Yeah, it was really great. So
Okay.
sorry I couldn't be there.
I love that for
To
you.
enjoy a cookie with you. But you brought us a cookie?
I brought you the Selena Gomez cookies.
Okay, I can't wait.
Okay, I won't tell you the flavor.
Is it a guessable flavor?
I don't know. Just tell me the notes you're getting.
I'm not great at this. Okay, I'm getting cinnamon or a carrot cake smell.
These are chocolate and cinnamon cream cookies.
Okay, so I got the cinnamon.
Apparently,
Look at me, a cookie sommelier.
there you are. It's a brand new career choice.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is inspired by her favorite desserts as a child.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's pretty delicious.
It is good, delicious, and it's nice and creamy, which I
I brought them
appreciate.
home and I said to my husband, please do not eat any of these. I need them for the show next week.
And
What? Well, when I opened the sleeve,
oh, there's a row or two
whole
missing.
row gone. But enjoy, babe.
Well, good for you, Selena Gomez. We love that.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thanks for the
So-
treat. Let's line up the show.
Let's do that.
This top story just fell in our laps.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow.
Did not see this one coming.
Nobody saw this one coming.
Oh my God.
This was
set the internet on fire.
this was a holy freaking airball.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? So Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, the judge has dismissed his claim
Yeah.
of defamation. So there's
And extortion.
And extortion. There's lots there.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that.
Yep. We're
Other
gonna
layers and
explain
things
it
like
all.
that. We're going to explain it all and where it stands now and where it could be going.
Yeah, where
right?
it's going for sure.
And then we're going to talk Miley.
Miley.
If you've listened to the show for a while, you know I love Miley Cyrus.
We love Miley.
And she's in
I'm
a whole new era.
Falling in love with her more and more every day.
Yeah, it's another era of this girl, which I love. She's just constantly giving us-
reinvention.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then last week we touched on Scooter Braun,
We did.
and then I wanted to know more, and then
Here
ta-da!
he is with a 2-hour interview.
Yes. And then finally, Callie is. I am really excited too. I'm not going to lie. We have to talk about Summer House.
Oh my God. The day has come.
It has. What is happening? Who's coming back? Who's not?
I have thoughts.
And speculation and all that stuff. So that's going to be a fun one for all you Summer House fans. And if you're not a Summer House fan, become one because
What's wrong with you?
it's so good.
Yeah.
All right, Cal,
Okay.
and everybody out there, we're going to get into it. Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, does it end here? Who knows? Just for some context and some backstory, I think it's important to kind of do that and to get people kind of up to where we are. Blake's initial claim in December was filed with the California Civil Rights Department. Okay, she accused Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment and filed a civil suit seeking damages. He went and countersued for the $400 million that we've all heard about. Earlier this week, Judge Lyman granted her motion to dismiss his claims.
Yeah.
The reason for that is because Blake's claims were made within the legal process, and Blake is protected because her statements were part of a legal filing. So they can't be defamatory because they're part of a legal filing. And those protections are in place so that people can feel safe in coming forward with their claims and they don't feel like there could be retaliation against them.
Yeah, exactly.
Did I get that right?
You totally did. You nailed it.
Okay.
No, it is like pretty, there's some minutiae here that get a little heavy and messy.
Yes.
Most of the claims have been dismissed with prejudice, which means they cannot be refiled by Baldoni's team.
That's right.
So he cannot come back in a few months or in a year and claim defamation. That is gone.
Yes.
There are a few things that Lyman will allow them to amend.
Okay.
And he's giving them a date of, I think, like the end of June.
The 23rd.
The 23rd, to amend a couple of things. The first one is breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing.
Right.
And so he's allowing them to come back with an amended version of that that could show that Blake Lively deliberately acted to undermine their agreement.
Okay.
And then the other one is tortious interference with contract. And that's in the same vein. But basically this is like, it's basically saying that a third party is intentionally getting in the way of your covenant, of your agreement with someone else.
Okay.
So for example, something like that would be if they can prove that Blake Lively wouldn't allow Justin to come to his own premiere. That's getting in the way of his contract with Sony, where he said, I will arrive at the premiere.
I see.
So that
Good example.
It's kind of hard to explain, but I think that those ones, I mean, they have nothing to do with the defamation and they have nothing to do with the extortion. Those have been thrown out.
Those are done.
So
sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
As was the claim he made against the New York Times. He was suing them for $250 million. The reason that was dismissed is because the New York Times relied on Blake's civil claims to support their article.
Right.
So because those were not defamatory and the New York Times was just leaning on those to write their piece, those claims were thrown out as well.
Yeah.
So
and same for Ryan Reynolds.
That's right.
Who was also being sued for calling him something like a sexual predator.
Yeah.
And nope, the judge says he was making his opinion and making these statements based on that claim. So basically, that claim that they made early on before she filed the lawsuit, the civil claim she made, has completely protected them in this part of the process and is the reason why this case has been basically thrown out. Baldoni's case has been thrown out.
The defamation part of it, yes. And then the other pieces, as you said, they have a few weeks to amend and come back. And of course, Brian Friedman, Justin's lawyer, has come out and said they're going to do just that. They plan to depose Blake, is what he said, and he wants to do that himself.
Great.
And he said, while the court dismissed the defamation-related claims, the court has invited us to amend 4 of 7 of our claims against Miss Lively, which will showcase additional evidence and refined allegations. Miss Lively's own claims are no truer today than they were yesterday. And with the facts on our side, we march forward with the same confidence that we had when Miss Lively and her cohorts initiated this battle. And we look forward to her forthcoming deposition, which I will be taking.
It did take them a minute to come out with that statement, right? Like almost a full 24 hours, which I felt like we kind of saw in real time his team getting a little shaken.
Yeah.
And all of the defenders of Baldoni online, they seem to be rattled.
Oh, they rattled.
They're rattled.
Yep.
And I get it. Like this does appear to be a win for Blake's side, but it's really based on a technicality, right? This technicality of she is protected by this civil claim that she made. Therefore, defamation gets thrown out. But she still has to prove the sexual harassment allegations.
Yep.
And that's still going to trial in March.
That's right.
So I guess the question is, I mean, I have a lot of questions.
I have a lot of questions. We should say that Blake's team called this a total victory.
Right. But
And
it's not a total victory.
It's not.
It is
There's still
a victory.
It's a victory with this piece of a much larger case that still has to go forward in the ways that it does.
Yeah, because I think we want to make sure people understand that this is not like she did not win this whole thing and it's done now. They dismissed his claims and his lawsuit against them, but her lawsuit still has to be proven. It still has to go the distance.
That's right.
So this doesn't mean like she won and he's a sexual predator. It means that he can't sue her for defamation.
For defamation, because she's protected. And it is an important piece of the law to know that people can speak their truth.
Yeah.
And have it protected against retaliation.
It makes a lot of sense.
It does. It does make a lot of sense. What I don't understand is if that is common knowledge amongst lawyers, which I'm sure it is.
Right.
Why though? Why, if you knew her claims against you were protected, did you file this $400 million lawsuit against her if you couldn't use that as defamation and didn't provide any other evidence to support defamation? And that was part of it, of the judge's ruling as well, was, well, where's the other evidence of defamation? And she hasn't said anything else about him outside of the claim. So why did they do it? Right. Is the question. So I have a couple theories. I'm sure you do as well.
I do. I mean, I think that I don't want to underestimate Brian Friedman. I think he's, we call him the trolliest troll of all the trolls. And I think this is his trolling at play. I think he probably did know. And I think he used this countersuit as an opportunity to release all those text messages, to claim extortion of Taylor Swift, to bring in all of this kind of messy, crazy stuff that otherwise maybe he wouldn't have had the opportunity to do, knowing that it would get thrown out eventually and knowing that the court takes time to process things. And he got a full 6 months
of damage
to her, her public image.
Yeah, he threw a Molotov cocktail on her public image, one after another. And I think that was the play. I think it was, this case isn't strong, hinging on the claim and the defamation.
Yeah.
But I can screw up her image really, really big if I want to.
But let's sue her, the New York Times and Ryan Reynolds. Let's throw out this $400 million lawsuit. Most people don't know about the civil claim protection. Therefore, they're just going to watch us toss all of this evidence at her and rough up her image.
And really rehab his, because if we go back to when her claim was filed, the whole world was anti-Justin Baldoni. He's terrible. He's a perv. He's a creep. He's a predator.
Yeah.
And then because Brian Friedman has been able to launch these missiles against Blake, it has really been a reputational defense move. It's like, oh, okay. And now the narrative shifted a lot, didn't it?
It really did.
We really did see the effects of that.
In my opinion, he has done irreparable damage to her image.
100%.
I don't know that she'll ever be able to rehab her image from the damage that has been done by Freeman's lawsuit. And I don't think people care that it's been dismissed because the damage has been done. And people, we have fickle memories.
Yep.
Right? Where we hang on to some of those details. People are going to hang on to the Taylor Swift of it all.
Yep.
They're going to hang on to those videos on set that we saw months ago. They're going to hang on to, Justin being forlorn and handsome and
you're right,
having the support of the world. And I don't see this. I think she's seeing it as a win. And I think that I don't know that it swayed anyone in the public.
I guess we'll see what the next few years of her career look like.
Yeah.
And if in fact studios want to work with her and they want to make her a star of a film or a franchise, we'll see how her businesses do over the next few years and to see if in fact it was irreparable damage. Mm-hmm. Yes, some of what happened to Blake is a result of, this lawsuit and everything coming out. But a lot of it is just Blake being Blake from the past and people seeing it now too.
Yeah, totally. And putting the two together.
Together, exactly. Like you said.
She buried herself and then he kind of put the nail in the casket, right? Mm-hmm. But she's already out. She's already out. Basically within an hour, she was on a red carpet.
Okay, I have a theory that she wasn't even ready for that event. So she went out the night of to this Chanel event.
Yeah, she didn't look like she was Chanel'd.
Not even a little bit. She was like, did we? Okay, gotta go.
Yeah.
And just put on something. The hair was
a jean jacket. That is not a euphemism. Like she literally threw on a jean jacket at a Chanel event.
Yeah. And she lives in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
So she just ran out the door, ran to the event to be like, ta-da.
And you know what? Like,
Good for
I
her.
don't blame her.
No.
I imagine, regardless of, what we're debating over right now about her image and will she ever be able to recover, I bet she's feeling great today.
She's feeling great today.
I mean, imagine it feels like 1,000 pounds lifted off your shoulders.
Yeah. And for that, I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
Because, man, that has been, I mean, it's not over.
It's definitely not over.
You didn't win. But I'm sure the relief feels really nice. Ryan was spotted out as well with.
Was he?
Yeah, in New York with
surprise.
Sean Levy, walking around looking
Of course.
a little bit lighter as well.
Right.
Yeah. Do you think she texted Taylor Swift right after, like,
Well,
"Hey,
I'm
girl, we good"?
wondering, Like, told you so. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Taylor. Taylor's living her best life, and I don't think that includes Blake Lively. But I did sort of Google like celebrities supporting Blake Lively today, and it was pretty much a ghost town.
Did you get crickets?
No, I got one hit.
Who?
Amber Tamblyn, her
the pants.
Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants co-star.
The pants people.
Posted, "Proud of you, Blake. This is a win for women everywhere who dare to speak out." And she's right. And so she has one lone supporter.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Okay, moving on to my girl, Miley. I love Miley. And I love that every time she steps back out with something, it's a new version of Miley. So she's got this new album, which, by the way, debuted at #1.
Did it?
It did.
Oh, good.
Yeah, good for her. And a movie. So it's a visual kind of
It's a
companion.
visual album.
It's a visual album.
The last time, so I have two in my head, like two references that pop up when it comes to visual albums.
Okay.
One of them is Beyonce for Lemonade. She was the first to do that, or, one of the first of our generation to do that, where she accompanied every single song with a video, and it was very much like storytelling, and that album was so good, and the visual album was so good. And then we had J-Lo with
totally
This Is Me
forgot.
Now, whatever that
This
was,
Is
like
Me,
3 years ago,
then
where she put out
This Is-
3 movies and an album all at once. None of them were good.
Not quite the same, was
No.
it?
So I'm like,
I totally forgot
Miley's
about that.
hasn't come out to the public yet. She's premiered it at Tribeca Film Festival.
That's right.
But we haven't seen it yet. We won't see that until actually in a couple days.
I saw
think
the
US
trailer.
will see it.
Looks
yeah,
great.
the trailer. But I'm hoping it's closer to the Beyonce version of a visual album, and I think it will be.
She's a real artist. Miley
she
is
really
an
is.
artist.
She's
And
an artist.
I often
Yeah.
feel like I have to defend Miley Cyrus because I think there is a segment of the population that feels like she was a gimmick and she was
Hannah Montana.
or she
And then bangers,
and then
and then,
bangers
right?
and the tongue out and the weed smoking and all the that era she went through, and
Yeah.
people thought she was kind of just a gimmick. She's not. She's such an artist because she lives and performs with such vulnerability and such honesty.
Yeah.
She is a warts and all kind of person.
Yeah, and she writes all of her own music.
Yes.
Artistically, she's very clear on her vision.
Yep.
I listened to her interview with Zane Lowe from Apple, and he's so great at interviewing artists. But hearing her talk about her process and her vision and her references, like she's so big on like making sure that she really understands music in all genres and takes reference from all of her sources of inspiration. And like listening to her talk about this, first of all, made me fall more deeply in love with her as a person, as an artist. She's so layered. She has so much depth.
Yes.
And it made me want to listen to her music because I'm like, it isn't vapid. It's not surface. It's like, it's anything but that.
It is. You're right. It's
Yeah.
her story.
Yeah.
And we've said this before. She's lived a lot of life.
Really.
Yeah. And what she I listened to an interview she just recently did about different eras of her life and the different places she's moved through. From the bangers era, which was the grinding and the overly sexualized and the short hair and the tongue and all of that, at a time when she was engaged to Liam Hemsworth, who was like pretty wholesome.
Yeah.
From a pretty normie family, and his fiance is out there like grinding up on Robin Thicke.
Right.
Remember?
But those were, I mean, the album was bangers, but those were bangers.
They're bangers.
Like, oh my God, those were amazing songs.
But that season did affect her relationship. So then after bangers, when our tongue is out and we're grinding up on things, she moved on to a new era and really toned things down to sort of make a happy home, is what she said, to keep her, they got married. It was her husband for a very short period of time. They broke up, got back together, got married, short-lived marriage, just to kind of, clean up her image so that it wasn't, because he was a part of the Hunger Games and his brother was in the Marvel universe. And it was like, what is your wife doing out here?
Right.
So she really toned it all down, and then came out on the other side as another version of Miley, which is, I think, one of the reasons I love her so much is this constant, it's not even a reinvention. I think she just really can't be anything other than herself in the moment that she's in.
Yeah.
So
very authentic.
Whatever season she's in, 30, whatever year old Miley, she's like, this is how I feel. And you're welcome, world. This is what I'm delivering to you. She spoke a lot in this interview I listened to about her drug abuse and the years and what that looked like, and hiding, these large amounts of money that she was using for drugs from her accountant, and telling her accountant she was buying vintage clothes.
Right.
And that $15,000. I bought an original John Lennon t-shirt. That's what that was. Meanwhile, it was, money used on drugs. She's clean and sober now.
Yeah.
She's been off weed, I think she said, like everything all together.
And I feel like you can tell, like she just seems clear. She seems healthy. She's very, very focused on her physical health.
Yep.
She talks a lot about right now, and people are starting to talk about, she hasn't toured in like a decade, since the Bangers tour.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she doesn't tour. And the reason why she doesn't tour is a few different things. One is her sobriety. She talks about the fact that if you're trying to be sober, being on tour in a rock and roll world is not a healthy place to be. And that is so smart and so fair and good for her. And the other piece is, she's really focused on her physical and mental health. Physically, touring is extremely taxing. Like, I don't think people recognize that going on tour and performing 5 nights a week, it's like you're running on a treadmill for 3 hours every night. Yep. And you're putting your voice through so much stress. And she actually has a condition that causes her to have that rasp.
I love the sound of
that signature rasp is because she has something called Reinke's edema, which is she has a very substantial node on one of her vocal cords. And she doesn't want to have it removed because it's so deeply entrenched with like her sound, her signature sound, and who she is. But she has to be very careful. She compared singing, like a full night of singing on a stage is what she compares to running a marathon with ankle weights on. Wow. It really weighs her down, and it's very challenging, and she has to be very careful because she doesn't want to get more nodes by stressing her voice more than it needs to be, because this polyp can rub and create more.
Of course.
So there's a few reasons why she doesn't tour, and most of it is her physical and her mental health.
So is she still not touring?
She says no, she's not touring. I think you've probably seen her do these like intimate
performances, them.
And she says like she's committed to doing that. Every once in a while, really celebrating the music by doing some intimate performances.
But I really respect a person too for showing up for themselves in that way, because your fan base would love for you to tour. I'm sure you're being encouraged excessively by the machine.
Financially, that's how most artists make their money.
The tour is the money maker.
Yeah,
so for Miley to make music, deliver it the way that she does to the best of her capacity, and then say that's it, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
And if she's not going to tour for the reasons she's not going to, then I think that's great. Did you see what happened though, speaking of Miley singing? So she was at Tribeca. She's doing a panel talking about this visual album. Yes. And there's people there who start shouting.
Heckling her. To sing.
They're like, are you going to sing? Apparently some people.
The Climb.
Yeah.
Because everyone, all of her, like the OG fans are obsessed with the song The Climb, which I think was one of her very first songs as a pop star, like 20 years ago.
It's a great song.
And it is a great song. I mean, she has so many great songs. And they're like, sing it.
Yeah.
And
But they weren't there for a concert. These people were mad because they expected, I guess.
Like, I paid $800 to be here.
Yeah. And she starts singing.
She did. And when she opens her mouth, even just to sing one bloody bar, you're like, gagged. Freaking gagged. That voice is insane.
It is.
It's insane.
It is. That's why.
Like, people don't realize how fucking talented she is.
That's why we have this show. I want to just remind
everybody
people.
Needs to know.
Do not come for Miley Cyrus. She's an artist. She's an immense talent.
She is.
And she's a gift to us all.
She's also a girl's girl.
Yes, she is.
She talks a lot about, and I think, you know, we come from the era of the Beyoncés and the Mariahs and the Whitneys who wouldn't even say each other's names, right? I don't know her is the famous, right? Like, they're like, oh, J-Lo, I don't know her. Or was it Beyonce? I don't know her. That's Mariah's famous quote. We have evolved.
We sure have.
And bless, because Miley, the way she talks about some of the girls out there in the pop world, like full support, not even just support, like she's a fan of these women and she recognizes them, she sees them, she mentions them often, how much she loves their music. And she actually recently talked about Sabrina. And, you know, Sabrina's a child star as well. I think people forget about that also. And Miley recently said that she watches Sabrina and she worries about her. And she says, I see that one day she's performing in Ireland and the next day she's doing a show in Kansas. And I'm like, I don't know that I would be physically okay if I was in that situation. I know what it feels like to fry yourself and I don't want to see anyone get fried. And she said, but I like all the new girls. They're all unique.
Big sister Miley.
Big sis energy.
Love it.
What do we think of her boyfriend?
Who's the boyfriend?
She's got like this drummer producer boyfriend.
Oh.
He looks, I don't know. He's not, I think he's in the music industry, but he's not like famous.
Okay, I like that. I feel like you have a hesitation.
I don't know.
You're uncertain.
No, I don't know. I just feel like she deserves the world.
She does deserve the world.
And I just want that for her. So I don't know. I don't know him.
Okay. I don't know.
Shade intended.
I love it so much.
Oh my God.
Okay.
So
let's get to Scooter Scott Braun.
Yeah.
Scooter Braun.
Miley, I think, was the only pop star that wasn't managed by him.
So true.
Right?
You're totally right. After last week, we were talking about him and the Taylor and the Masters and everything else. And then we get this interview.
And then we manifested it.
And then we manifested an interview.
For a 2-hour interview.
Yeah, where we learned some things, I think. I didn't know Scooter's kind of origin story of how he became to be Scooter Scott Braun. I say that because his name is Scott and he's really kind of leaning back into the Scott of himself. He created this persona of Scooter to become this music mogul. This mega mogul from a very young age.
He was a club promoter, right?
Yeah, and then worked for Jermaine Dupri and then started his own label.
Right.
And found Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
But did you see the part? I didn't know how he found Justin Bieber. Like he saw this video of Justin singing in church, and then started, he said, searching all regions of Canada, looking for whatever that church was and wherever that was, contacting school boards and like went full stalker crazy, stalked Justin Bieber.
Well,
and found him within 24 hours. These were his words, and convinced his mom to put Justin and herself on a plane to go out and meet him.
Yeah.
So that just tells you the power of persuasion that Scooter has.
Yes.
And that ties back to one of the first things he said in the interview. He talked about his childhood and how his dad said to him, he talked about his childhood, and I think parts of it were traumatic, it sounds like. But his dad said to him at one point that he was a liar and he could talk his way out of anything. And you're so good at this, at lying, that you might just be successful. And that really stuck with me because you know your kids deeply.
Right.
And, you know, he did build so much of what he built on a lack of limiting beliefs, he called it, but also to a degree, probably lying. No?
Yeah.
About who he was or what he could do or what access he had. Yes.
And also, you know, fronting like he knows what he's doing and he can do anything when he really had no skills to back that.
Right.
I would argue
I've done that though.
I would argue like everything I've done, you know, I've said I can do and then figured it out. Like when I first got my job in television, I was one of the first and one of the last people to be hired as an intern with no degree in radio and television. Okay. And I didn't even know what a time code was. And we didn't have like, okay, I'm really dating us now, but we didn't have a phone with Google. Like there wasn't a Google to just be like, what is a time code? There was no chat GPT to answer these questions. I just was like, yep, of course I can do that. And then I was like, shit.
What's a time code?
Now I got to figure out how to do this. But I did.
Of course you did.
Right. And so to a degree, I think, yes, of course, I think Scooter is a master manipulator. And I think often people in this business are.
Yeah.
Like convincing, Justin's mom to hop on a plane to trust a 25-year-old kid who's never done this before. But he pulled it off. He made the biggest pop star in the world.
He did. And he did operate from why not me?
Right. Which is our new mantra.
Which is our motto. Why not? So why not us?
We are Scooter. Scooter is us.
Yes. But I do think so. Yes and no. I really listened to this and I was like, oh, wow. He's very articulate, and it felt like he's really introspective. He's looked back at his time.
Definitely done some work.
And he was therapy forward. This whole thing was like, this was a therapist. It was therapy talking. And he did talk about that. And he went through a very intensive period of therapy. But it felt like as I was listening to it, I was like, oh, maybe he's decent. And then I kept going, or is he just manipulating me because he's a master manipulator and now he's kind of rehabbing his own image through this interview as a way to clean up the mess that was made, because he talked about that too. But again, not really openly about the bad press he called it.
Yeah.
It was very cagey. And it was like he wanted to talk about himself and his therapy and the growth and his trauma, but didn't want to talk about the stuff that everybody wanted to talk about.
Right.
Because it was, I don't know, he felt to me like he was trying to just convince us that he's a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. I think I had the same feeling. Like when I was listening to it, I was like, oh my God, wait, I love Scooter. And I did come on the show last week and talk about how, digging deeper into the story about Taylor and her masters, I did find some facts that I thought were important that most people don't know about in the fact that he didn't target her and her masters and buy them outright underneath her nose and prevent her from getting them back. I think he made a business deal, and he's very business and money forward.
Yep.
He's a brilliant business person. But I think, when Taylor decides that she's made an enemy, she gets the world on board, and I'm on board with her, and I side with women, but I do think there were some misunderstandings there. And I do think that, in kind of a cutthroat business world, he made some cutthroat business decisions.
Yeah, they were business decisions, 100%. I just wanted more from him in this interview.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear more about the end of his relationship with Justin Bieber.
Yeah, yes.
He finished managing artists a couple of years ago,
and a lot of artists bailed on him, in a mass exodus.
But that he didn't say
he didn't
either.
talk about that.
No,
Yeah.
he said
he didn't give us any reasons.
No,
for that.
he actually
said he was over it.
Yeah, he made it sound like they broke up with me, but I broke up with them.
I was already
first.
ready. I was already out the door.
Yeah, he said I made the decision a year before, and then, but people were leaving left, right, and center, and. He said you don't get to write the ending of how things go. Would he have liked the end of his music management career to have ended in a big performance of all these artists? But it sounds like everybody left with a pretty bad taste in their mouth. But he didn't say any of that either.
Yeah.
He did say, as far as Justin is concerned, Justin wanted to go off and do his own thing. And now he's a cheerleader for Justin from the sidelines. And that's about as far as he went with it.
The Justin piece, I do think that him sort of remaining cagey and a little bit I support him from afar is appropriate. I do think providing some answers as to what happened, was it just, the bad press from the Taylor Swift stuff that caused, Demi Lovato and Ariana Grande to bail as well? We don't know that. I do think he did provide some details about Taylor. He said that he kind of thought when he bought that record label and Taylor's masters were a part of them, in his mind, he thought, okay, I know I've only met her a few times and I know she has issues with Justin and with Kanye, who were both his artists at the time. But he kind of thought, we'll sit down in a room, we'll have a discussion about it, and everything will be fine. He says that he was met with resistance to even having a conversation. And I have heard that. that she decided, no, like, F you, we're not doing this.
I don't know
I'm
you.
not entertaining. I don't know you. I'm not entertaining a conversation, and just refused to have it. And if I'm looking at his side of the fence, I would feel that that was unfair. He made a business decision to buy this record label, which is totally in his right to do it. And then became this big campaign against him. Like, talk about a smear campaign from his perspective.
Right.
She has a totally different perspective. We talked about that last week. It is possible that all of his artists were like, shit, if you're on Taylor's shit list, we don't know you.
Right.
Because we don't want to be associated with that. Everybody wants to stay on Taylor's good books. And nobody wants to be seen with sort of a bully or someone who's being painted as a bully. What I thought was interesting about that interview, and when I started to doubt myself for trusting him, was when the whole thing, okay, first of all, Steven, who does the interviews, the Diary of a CEO, he's so good, but he was enamored.
He went fangirl.
It was crazy.
Then they were having a therapy session.
And then they turned the tables where, like, Steven was then, so Scooter was then asking Steven questions
about his relationship.
About his life.
Yes.
And he was like, this is such a blessing to learn from you, Scooter. And, what is this life that I get to sit across from you and learn all these life lessons from someone who's so smart and so accomplished and so amazing. And I'm like, wait, what's happening
What happened here? Where are you, Stephen Bartlett? Where
did you go?
But where were the questions that we all wanted answered too?
I do respect him for doing so much work, and he going to the Hoffman process is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I was like listening to him, like, shit, I should go to the Hoffman process, shouldn't I?
Don't think I didn't Google the Hoffman process after the interview. I was like, I gotta heal all kinds
I need
of
to heal. I want to
I
heal.
want to heal.
I
How
want
do
to
we
see everything
heal?
as a blessing.
Everything is a blessing. Everything is a gift. And at the same time, when he was saying that, I was also like, you know what? Screw you, Scooter.
Yeah.
You can
You have
say
$1 billion.
that because you have billions of dollars.
No, literally billions.
Yeah, you're good. So yeah, you can literally coast through life now and do whatever you want or not. The rest of us got to figure it out.
Totally.
Well, embracing everything is a gift. He did say a little bit on the Justin, and maybe this includes Ari, I don't know, feeling a little bit guilty about some of what happened to those young artists. He said, we were all young. So again,
Right.
Justin's 13, Scooter's 25. They're all young people at this point.
Yes.
Just trying to
blind
win.
leading the blind.
Right. Just trying to win, just trying to make a difference, just trying to make an impact, just trying to hit it big.
Yeah.
And he does carry some guilt. He didn't say what kind or for what around some of those artists at that time. So,
And the way that he worded the stuff about Justin was very careful. And maybe I'm looking at it through a lens of what I see happening with Justin right now and how worried we are about his health and
he
his
does not look good.
physical health, his mental health, and everything around it.
Yeah.
The way that it was worded made me feel like he was acknowledging that, Justin's not in a good way.
Yeah.
Without saying it.
Without saying it because he couldn't.
But
I
I'm
mean,
sure that that's hard for him to see happen as well.
Of course. He did say that if he could do anything differently, which was a decent question, I think.
Yeah.
He would ensure that everybody on tour, the entire crew had mental health support.
Yeah.
Because of the fragility of mental health for everybody, but especially young people.
Yeah.
Who aren't fully formed human beings.
He's had a bit of a glow up, no?
You think he looked cute?
I do.
I think the glasses were also a manipulation.
The glasses, he's obviously done something to his hair. Like he's
Yeah.
got more of it in the front.
He looks fit.
He definitely looks fit.
Yeah. Well, he's out there.
I mean, and he's got $1 billion. So,
Yeah.
I mean, what did they say on The Housewives? Like, you're not ugly, you're just poor. Like,
That sounds very Housewives. I don't know.
like if you have the
Oh,
money, you
God.
can do the thing.
Right. You could
No
really-
one who's rich is ugly. And if they are, they're just not doing it right.
Right. Or you're cheap. Okay. Let's move on to, we have to talk about Summer House. Let's send it,
reference.
Cal.
For reference, I'm dancing.
She's dancing.
I'm doing
She's
my
so
happy
happy. The reunion is done.
The reunion is done.
And now we're learning who's coming back
Yeah.
and who's not.
Yes, because they start filming the next season the 4th of July weekend.
Oh, is that when it begins?
And they don't find out, like even the cast, Bravo is sort of infamous for not letting anyone know what's happening until literally weeks before. And that's what's happening. I think the cast just found out what's going on. So the first thing that we heard was not a huge surprise. Paige not coming back.
I mean, the writing was on the wall there.
I think it's like, why would she? First of all, she doesn't have fun when she's there. She just wants to be in bed. This has been years in the making, the bed bugs.
Yes.
She wants to lie in bed. She wants to go to bed early.
Yep.
She doesn't want to mess around at the parties.
Well, she can't really be at those parties anymore.
Right.
With the randos from the Hamptons.
Because she's a big freaking star.
So could you imagine she got out of the bed and went and spent more time amongst the general population of that party?
The riffraff in the Hamptons?
She cannot.
No.
So I don't blame her. So she did that last tour of duty last year.
Agreed.
And then...
And Andy said that this is the biggest Bravo success story. And he's right. I think, we've seen some big stars to come out of Bravo, the Housewives or Vanderpump Rules. Like maybe Ariana Madix would be comparable, who's now, hosting Love Island US and on Broadway. But Paige arguably is the biggest star to come from a Bravo show. And that happened quickly. Like it's only been the last 3 years, like really since Giggly Squad, that's only been out there in the world for 3 or maybe 4 years.
Is that it?
Yeah, that she's really become a household name.
Good for her.
Yeah.
She's got her sleepwear line now.
Yep.
Which is so well aligned.
Yes.
Which is...
Yeah, she's masterfully marketing herself.
I will miss her though.
And I think it's like quit while you're ahead. And I think we talked about that earlier. It's like, this is the moment to pounce on and to not overstay her welcome, where you never know what's going to happen one season to the next. Like one season you're the hero, the next season you're the villain.
Yep.
It happens quickly. And, it's up to the producers, the editors, it's up to your castmates and how they receive you. And I think she made a great choice. The question is, I don't think Bravo will let her go that easy. I think that they're either creating something new for her or they're going to bring her into something else.
I agree.
They don't want like Hulu to grab her or someone else, Netflix.
So they want to put her, pay her to put her on a shelf for now.
Yes.
And just have the rights and ownership to Paige DeSorbo and figure out what they're going to do with her. Yeah. I do feel for like Sierra and
What's
for Amanda. Because like, what are they going to do? That's their best pal. And they're the ones who are there. And Lindsay is going to pop in, I guess, with the baby or not, which also
I guess
it feels strange.
It's not really summer housey.
It doesn't feel summer housey.
I think Lindsay's going to get pulled into Real Housewives of New York.
Okay.
We've been seeing her hanging out with Erin Leachy from the New York Housewives. And I feel as though she's making that play. I don't know if they're going to execute right away, but I think that's in her future. At least that's what she's gunning for.
Lexi is not coming back?
I was shocked by that.
Yeah, it didn't sound like it was her choice.
It did not.
It did not. It read to me like Bravo said, thank you for your time.
Which I don't really understand. I think Lexi really made the season entertaining.
Well, the whole
storyline was about her. Yeah. But historically, Bravo does often choose the men over the women. This is kind of like a bad track record of sort of protecting bad behavior from men. They did it with, Tom Sandoval in the VPR stuff. And I think that this is an example of that. They definitely cannot lose West and Jesse.
No.
Like they're the new gen.
Do you think there is a world where Jesse was like, I won't come back if she does?
Maybe.
Because I thought, what a great storyline to have them both back in the house and he's out there doing himself, doing what he does and watching what that looks like, just from an entertainment standpoint.
I don't know if he did that. I think maybe because otherwise, why would they have to choose? Unless they're just kind of tired of the storyline of like exes living in the house together, like it was Carl and Lindsay and it was, Sierra and West. Although it's like, isn't that what this house is designed to do? You're designed to hook up with your housemates and then break up messy. Yes. And then so I'm like, why? Of course we want to see that. So I don't know.
That's the formula.
I don't know. I think they're going to have to bring on a bunch of new people.
They're going to have to.
Because Imrul's obviously out.
He's out.
Poor guy got like the worst edit of all time.
Not great. I could do without Gabby, to be honest.
Well, she's sort of like, what's she doing there?
What are you doing here? I don't know.
What have you contributed?
Not really.
Name something. I mean, other than great fashion.
Great fashion.
She's
Looks
serving
great.
looks.
Yeah, not my favorite.
She's serving.
I actually am surprised, but I guess Kyle needs Carl. I didn't know that I was going to see Carl again.
I was also surprised by that. Like, we are Carl stans.
Yeah.
We love him. I feel like he's in a new chapter with his business and his sobriety that, you know, might not be conducive to like bringing the most juiciest storylines, but you never know. His heart is healed from Lindsay.
Yep.
She's moved on. Maybe this will be the season that we see him like
out there
dating.
Yeah.
You know, this man should be bagging great women.
Yeah.
I met him in person. I can attest.
Yeah. Tall,
He's
handsome.
He's lovely. He's articulate. He's interesting.
He's courteous and kind.
Yes. Like,
he's a gentleman.
he should be, like, I think he should be getting quality women.
I think so too.
Yeah. So I think what they need to do is the same thing as what they did with Vanderpump, which is to create the Valley, which is the, you know, the next chapter for the outcasted Vanderpump stars.
Yeah.
I think that if they did something like that, like the adult edition of
Summer House
in New York, watching them hustle, watching, you know, Soft Bar and Loverboy and all of these businesses be created and watching them sort of in their real lives. Like, that's what I want to see.
That's a great idea.
And because we want them on our TV sets. The formats, like, they're aging out, and that's the reality of it.
Quit while you're ahead.
Literally.
It all comes back with
Like
a bow on the end.
Paige.
Yeah, like Paige.
Yeah.
Well played, sister.
Well played.
We love it.
We do.
And this was fun, as always.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me? Miley and Summer House in the same episode?
What a range of topics today.
Literally.
Yes. Thank you,
So
as
much
always, for listening, for being here, for sharing, for following, subscribing, commenting, and all of those things. We really appreciate it. And we love you.
Yeah, we love you.
And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you.
Mwah.
Bye.